Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Some time back, I spoke with a devotee who spoke to me about a website which is called Omegle. On this website, you can actually video chat with random people from all over the world, I guess. And although this website would probably be used, you know, maybe for some sinful activities, that devotee told me that he was using it to preach to strangers, and he said that some people were actually interested into hearing more about Krishna consciousness. So I thought, well, why not give it a shot? In China anyway, what else can you do, you know? It's not like there's a million options of preaching. So very first time I'm gonna try this. I've never tried anything like this before, so here we go. So you see here they say video is being monitored, keep it clean. So what do you want to talk about? Okay, so let's put the yoga, spirituality, religion, philosophy, okay, science, why not? All right. So please enter, okay, text or video. So we'll start with video. All right, let's give it a try. By checking the box, Omegle may not be used by person under age. Okay. All right. Please allow Omegle to use your camera. Allow. Talk to strangers. Here we go. Hello.
Hello,
What is your
namaste. You like
Hare
yoga?
Krishna. Yes, I like Bhakti yoga.
Yeah. Bhakti, oh yeah. So you're not into Hatha yoga, right?
Well, Hatha yoga
Hatha
is
yoga.
very hard to practice in this age.
Oh yeah, but I started with Hatha yoga, and I'm planning to move to Bhakti yoga with Jnana yoga.
Yes. So Hatha yoga,
Yes,
if we take from Bhagavad Gita, actually the proper way to practice is we have to be in a sacred place, you know. So already this is
right.
hard to find, and the type of yoga that now is being popularized in social media and all together, this is not how the ancestors used to do it, you know. They used to
Exactly.
yeah. So they used to find a sacred place, and then there's a lot of regulative principles of how to breathe and how to stand. You probably know more than me on
Yeah.
this, but this is described in the Vedas, you know, and because yoga, that
Exactly.
word actually means linking, right? So
Exactly.
as soon as we say linking,
Yoga is what?
that means there must
Yoga is
be
what the union of something which you don't have, which you want to have. The
exactly.
union of something which you don't have.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us actually that union is supposed to be with him, because everybody is actually trying to be dear to someone. What we are really seeking is actually love, you know. We want to be loved by someone, and we want to love someone. But unfortunately, the relationship which we have in this material world are always there's always an expectation of being frustrated. There's always an expectation of being disappointed, because it's done on the material platform, not the spiritual platform. You see, just like a man and a woman get married, but both of them, actually the aim is to gratify their own senses, and the man is trying to gratify his senses with maybe sexual indulgence, or having, you know, the wife serve him in this way. And the wife also is the same thing. She wants protection, she wants care. So these things are natural, but ultimately they don't satisfy us, because we're not these bodies. The very basic teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna starts speaking, he says that dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. So as we are changing bodies, similarly at the time of death we will have to change to another body. So that is the whole point of the yoga system is to realize that we are not these bodies. And actually this can be scientifically observed. Just like if I'm asking you, where is your body when you were 5 years old? Where's that body now? It is gone. You cannot say it's the same. It looks similar.
Yeah.
It has similarities, but you cannot say it's the same. Even scientists agree that they say that every single cells in our body is not the same as it was 7 years ago. So the heart is built of cells, the brain is built of cells, the eyes, everything are cells. So that means that we have a completely new heart, a completely new eyes, completely new, everything has been completely changed. But how come you're still you? You still wake up and you have this sensation of I am. Why is it still this? But the I am what? This has changed. That is the difference. You know, the ego has changed. When you were a child, you did not bother so much. You, oh, I want to play, right? Let's do this. Then as you grow up, oh, I'm Indian, or I'm from Pakistan or America, or, you know, and there's more layers that start to cover. But the I am is always there, you see. So so we can understand that there's two things. There's a changing entity and there's a non-changing entity. So we are actually the non-changing entity. Even the old people, they also want to swim, they also want to run and laugh like young people do, but they are checked because of the body. So there's a clash of interest there. There's the body that is checking you from wanting to enjoy just like a young person. And the Vedas actually tell us Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Actually, we're eternally young. And that makes sense because every single living entity does not want to die. There's no living entity that has this desire that let me die. Of course, people commit suicide, but that's because in the first place they're very unhappy. So Vedas tell us that we are actually Satchidananda. So that means we're eternal, Sat, right? And then the Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda is full of bliss. So these three things are actually our very constitution, every single living entity. Therefore, every single living entity is seeking pleasure. Even the insects, you know, like the caterpillar, you give a little fruit or some strawberry, immediately it will go and try to seek the pleasure. So we're always seeking that pleasure. But then it is very hard to find it in material things. For example, can I ask you what job do you do?
I'm a software developer, software engineer.
Yes. So you're doing this because, of course, we need money, you know, in this world that we live. We need to have some income, right? But you will not do that for fun, you know, just I want to develop software a whole day and no money will come in, you know. So actually we do not like to, so we don't like to work. You know, this is it has been proven that when a man is very rich, he lets other do things for him. You know, he doesn't want to do things himself. So this work, this struggle for existence is not natural for us. We're supposed to simply be enjoying, and actually the real purpose of creation is this, is to simply enjoy. But the problem is that we're seeking this enjoyment in the wrong realm. Since this is the material world and we are spiritual beings, we are just like fishes outside water. If a fish comes out of water, you can give him whatever you want, you know, money or clothes or what, it will never be happy because his real place is back in the water. So actually the essence of Bhagavad Gita, which is very simple, but unfortunately there are so many people who have misunderstood it, is that Krishna says that you are originally part and parcel of me, and you are meant to enjoy life with me. And in this way we can eternally be happy together. And in each single chapter he's trying to bring us slowly to that goal, that you are my eternal servant, and if you engage in my loving service, I will reciprocate with you, and in this way you will eternally be happy. Because actually we're trying to be happy with our family members, but it's gonna end. That is the difficulty here. It's gonna stop, you know. I'm gonna stop. For example, I have one child, a 3-year-old son. Do you have children? Or
No, I'm single.
no, single still. Okay. So but one day I will stop being the father of my child. I will have to stop that. Even though I don't want to, I will be forced to, because that body, which is the father of my body's child, will die, and I will continue and take another existence. So therefore this is unnatural for us. We do not like this. But Krishna, he can be your son. You know, he was the son of Mother Yashoda when he came here on earth. He played, of course, God has no mother, but there are some devotees who wish to love God in that relationship. They want to be loving God as mother because, you know, for example, in the Christian religion, they have the idea of God as the father. But that is not a very intense level of love because the child always demands. Just like when we were young, we always ask our father, mother, mommy, give me money, give me that, give me this. So the love that the child has for the parents is not as strong as the parents have for the child, you know. So therefore, if one wants to love God as a mother or father, God accepts that, okay, I will become your child, and in this way you can display your natural propensity of love towards me. So the whole point of Bhagavad Gita is to help us remember that we're supposed to enjoy life in the eternal kingdom of God, not here. Because he said that mam dhamma paramam nama. So that means that it is never destroyed. That place where Krishna lives, you know, the spiritual world is never destroyed. Now you might be thinking, what? There's another universe, there's another. But we need to have a very cool-headed and scientifically approach to all of this. Not a dogmatic, you know, blind faith religious understanding, but very scientifically trying to understand this fact. First of all, nobody chose to be born. Is it right? Any man that you take, however big he is, you know, the president of China, the president of Russia, they were all forced to be born. They did not choose that. So that means that we are all under some superior force that is acting upon us. You see? And then we do not want to grow old. You know, why these pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars? Because women, they don't want to grow. Not even women, men also, but especially women, they don't want to get the wrinkles. They don't want to, right? They don't want to become old. So people are trying to keep themselves young. But there's a force that is grudging them, you know, they're being, and that is called time. So this time factor is not natural for us because we want to remain young and eternal. We don't want to die, and happy also. Because if I tell you eternally suffering, then no, better die, you know. So that's why, first of all, happiness must be there. We're seeking happiness. Every living entity is seeking pleasure. And then we want it to be in full knowledge. You know why the children, they're always asking why this, papa, why this? They simply want to gather knowledge. So why is this thirst for knowledge, even amongst animals? You know, you see the cats, sometimes they're curious, right? They go, they come, and they look, what is this, what is that? Why is this thirst for knowledge there in the living entity? Because originally in the Vedas it is said that living entity is chit or chaitanya, which means full of knowledge. We're supposed to know everything. And then eternal, you know, sat, eternal. So we're supposed to be eternally blissful, full of knowledge. That is our real constitution. And you can see that every single living entity that you take is simply trying to attain to that position. Go back there, you know. So this is the whole sum and substance of Vedic literature. There's different yoga, like you said. There's Hatha Yoga, you know, and Hatha Yoga is to use mechanical way. That means that you forcing the body in certain postures and everything, so that you can disconnect yourself from the outer covering. You can finally realize that you are not. No, I'm not these bones and flesh. Okay, so you have removed one layer already. Then you go more within. You start to analyze the mind. Am I this flickering mind who's always thinking of this, that, or am I beyond? Am I more than that? So then you can also disassociate yourself from the mind. You know that you're not this. And then am I the intelligence? The intelligence is the portion of the mind that has discrimination. Okay, for example, animals are practically not situated in intelligence because they almost have no discrimination. Just like a dog, he wants to go and smell a she dog, immediately he's going. He's not thinking that, oh, this is not proper, or this is. Yes, sure.
I have, I have one question also, like,
Yes.
do you know Mahabharata? Do you know Mahabharata? Like,
Yes, of course, yeah.
yeah. So I have one question: why, like, why, Lord Krishna, like, kind of tell Arjun to like fight when he know that, like, that bad people or the crime cannot be eradicated from the world permanently. Like, he sent a message to the world, like truth always triumphs over bad thing, but still
Mhm.
there's still bad thing going on. So what's the
Yeah.
point of Ar- Arjun to fight with their own family and murder them? Why?
Yes,
What's
okay,
the
so
point? Because
that's a very good
yeah,
question. Very good question. So, because you see, the Lord being absolute, every single activities that He does is a different facet of His mercy. Okay, so for example, us, because we are a very puny living entity, if I kill someone, it is not good. You see, because I'm not as powerful as the Lord. So the example is like this: the sun is very powerful, and the sun can evaporate water even from urine. You understand what I mean? You know, the urine, which is something contaminated, but the sun is so powerful that it can evaporate water even from urine without being contaminated. So similarly, God is so powerful that even if he appears to be acting sinfully, it is actually not sinful. So let me explain better. All in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavat Purana, you have heard Bhagavat Purana, it is said that every single soul that was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained moksha. So rather, those who did not accept Krishna as being the Supreme Lord, they attained moksha. That means they entered into the Brahma Jyoti, that is the impersonal aspect of God. Because God has got the personal aspect, and then from the personal aspect, the impersonal aspect emerges. Because if God was only impersonal, he will not be perfect, because he will be incomplete. And if God was only personal, he would also not be complete. Therefore, he's both personal and impersonal. But from Bhagavad Gita, we learn that the personal aspect is higher understanding of God than the impersonal aspect. Okay, so you were speaking of Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, they can attain to the impersonal realization of God. Brahma Jyoti, Brahman, Tamaham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Okay, then the yogi who meditate, ultimately they will find the Vishnu form, Vishnu Murti within the heart. Because in every living entity there is the Paramatma that resides there, which is the Vishnu Murti. So by meditation, at one point he will see the Vishnu Murti manifested within his heart of hearts, and that is the Paramatma realization, the localized form. You see him. But even higher than this is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the form of the Lord, but not only the form, but his activities, his pastimes, his qualities, and all of this that he comes and displays on this earth. So on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, those who accepted that Krishna was God, when they got killed, they went back to the spiritual kingdom. So actually, it is not at all killing, it is a blessing. You see, he's actually liberating them, because the real problem, as he says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Mritu Dharavadi. So birth, death, disease, and old age, these are the real problem. Not economic development or this. The real problem is I don't want to die. Why I'm forced to die? I don't want to. Why I'm forced to die? Why my very own existence? I'm here now. I don't want to die. Why is there this death coming upon me? In a few years. That is intelligence. That is the animal. They cannot think about that. There's no cat or dogs that's going to be discussing like we're doing right now. It's not possible. Only in this human form of life can someone try to understand these problems of life and try to fix them. And this is why the Lord especially comes for human beings. Of course, he comes from all living entity. There's no distinction for him between human beings and normal person. For example, this is Bhagavad Gita as it is, from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. You've heard of ISKCON?
okay. I
Yes,
have,
this
yeah,
is
I
Srila
have been there.
Prabhupada.
I've been to
Yes, yes. Okay. So, in the fifth chapter, 18 text, it is said that someone who is a true Mahatma, it is said here, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Svapakecha Panditaha Samadarshina. So, you can see here, the humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. So the one who has attained the Brahma Bhuta platform that we were discussing, the one who's on the Brahman realization, he doesn't make any distinction that he's an Indian, here's a dog, here's a flower, here's a tree. He sees everywhere spirit soul. That is the Brahman conception. And that is the same conception that the Lord has. The Lord doesn't make any distinction. Krishna is not God for the Indians and not God for the whites and not God for the dogs. He's God, that's all. He's God for every single living entities. And someone who comes in contact with Krishna and gets purified by the process of Bhakti Yoga, then he can attain to this platform. And this is the real cure for all diseases that are there in the world at the moment. Why is there war? Because people think, oh no, this is China, this is my land, this is India, this is your land, Chinese are better than Indian, and then we're fight. So this whole, all problems on the earth are due to this false ego, ahankara, to think that we are this body. So the Lord comes to try to teach us that we are not these bodies. That is the very, if you see Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning, the first chapter, you have Arjuna, who is bewildered. Why, Krishna, you asked me to kill my family member and everything. And the very first instruction that Krishna gives, it is in the second chapter, text 12. So the very first instruction that he says is, Nadvevaham jatu nasam nadvam nime janadipaha nacha sarve vayam mataha param. He says that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So that is his very first instruction, because in the beginning Arjuna did not surrender. So Krishna was speaking as a friend. But after that, Arjuna understood that, well, I'm completely bewildered, I don't know what to do. So then he said, Shishyasteham prapannam. I'm surrendering to you as a shishya, a disciple. And then Krishna started to speak as a spiritual master. And that is the very first verse he speaks. He says, you're wondering, you're saying grandfather, you're saying they're going to die, but you know what? You never were born, and you're never going to die, and none of them also, and us, me also. It's the same thing. We're eternal. So boom, immediately he brings back the consciousness to the transcendental platform that no, we're not these bodies. Death is only temporary. Death means you're gonna leave this body and you're gonna take another body. That's all. You see. And then again, he continues. He says, the 2:13, which is the verse that I quoted earlier. He says that as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. So he's giving us because we can doubt, and you say, okay, Krishna, you're saying we're all eternal, but how can I perceive this? So he's telling us, look, you had a baby body before. Where's that body now? It's gone. You had a boy body. Where's that body now? Then a man's body, and then old man. So he's giving you a practical analysis to be able to understand that knowledge, you see. So it's a fact. My baby body is gone. It's completely gone. So, but why I'm still me, So he's trying to get you figure out that there's something that doesn't change and something that changes, you see. So then after that, he explained to Arjuna that actually your duty is to please me, because we are eternal servant of the Lord. And actually we are eternal servant. If we choose not to serve Krishna, we will have to serve our community, our family. Just like we go to work every day, for what? To get some money, and then we'll get a wife, and the wife needs this. So you're serving the wife. The children will grow up, you have to work, and you're serving the children. The parents are getting old, you have to take care for them, you're serving them. Your boss is asking something, you're serving. We're always trying to please someone with our activity. Pleasing someone means service. So by constitution, we are servant. But Krishna says that all the service that you've been rendering in this material world for so many lifetimes has not bore fruit for you. You're not happy doing this. Come back and be my servant. I will give you all protection, and I will make you happy. So that is the sum and substance of Bhagavad Gita. And this Hatha Yoga that you said, it is bona fide. It is a bona fide process. It's not that it's not bona fide. It can be done, but it can be done only by very, very special persons. And in this age, actually, it's practically impossible. You can almost not find this anymore, because Krishna.
You're saying about your age, right? You at your age you cannot do Hatha Yoga.
No. It means in this age, we are in the Kali Yoga. In this yoga, Kali Yoga. Yes, Kali Yoga started 5,000 years ago. So people's life diminished. People before, in the previous age, the longest age they could live was 1,000 years. 1,000 years.
Used to be taller.
Yes, very tall. They were taller. Bhima, he said he was 15 feet. 15 feet, and his mace was 2 tons. So they were much taller. Even if you go on Google, you type giant human skeleton, you will see they have discovered so many places around the world. They have discovered huge human skeletons, but this they don't want to show in the media. But anyway, so in previous ages they were very bigger. They used to live longer. In the Treta Yoga, which is the age that just finished 5,000 years ago, the maximum lifespan was 1,000 years. And in the Dvarpa Yoga, the age before that, it was 10,000 years. And in the Satya Yoga, the very first age, it was 100,000 years. So in that age, practically everybody was self-realized. There was no industry and all. People were living very, very, very simply, only eating some fruits, very simple, and then practicing Hatha Yoga. Because everybody was so expert and so self-controlled. But how to control the mind in today's world? I mean, we're living in a craziness, you know, with all the sins that are happening everywhere. All the people are always, oh, I'm driving, I have to go to work. Everybody is always so much under so much strain, you know. So therefore, it says in the Bhagavatam that in this age, people are always harassed. We're always restless, you know. So then, but this Hatha Yoga was possible before. But then in the 6th chapter, Krishna speaks of this also. But then Arjuna, he says that he cannot do it, you know. So what to speak, if Arjuna cannot do it, then what to speak of us? Okay. I'm just going to be showing you a few verses.
In this case, people only do Hatha Yoga to stay fit, keep
Yes,
their body.
so that's it. So actually, yeah. So what they, of course, if you do Hatha, this actually it's not Hatha Yoga. If you do this kind of exercises, definitely you will be healthy. There's no doubt. But the problem is that most people that do this, when they become healthy and strong, then they want to enjoy like sex life or, you know, material sense gratification. So actually, ultimately, it will become bad for them. It won't become good because it is only taking care of the body but not of the soul. Yoga is meant to take care of the soul, and having a healthy body is simply a byproduct of yoga. It's not the aim, you see. But now the way that people describe yoga, which is actually not real yoga, it's actually simply some gymnastics, you know? Okay, so here Krishna says, he says that to practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should neither be too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and should practice yoga by controlling the mind and the senses, purifying the heart and fixing the mind on one point. Okay, so already to find a sacred place, of course, I believe you're in India, huh? You live in India?
Yeah.
Okay, so sacred place in India is not too hard to find, but outside India, how to find? But then again, that means you have to leave your family, you have to leave your job, you have to leave everything, and then you must go there and with a lot of determination. And why a deer skin? Because the deer skin has a coating that drives away snakes. Because if you sit still for hours and hours, at one point there's going to be snakes, maybe even tigers, you know. So you have to be very fearless to be able to do this. Then he says, one should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. So you see, so you have to be sitting straight like this at the tip of the nose. The eyes cannot be closed. Now normally they show you like this. This is, in Shastra it never said that eyes should be closed. Eyes should be half closed. And at the tip of the nose like this, and you have to focus on the Paramatma feature, the Vishnu form in the heart. And then it says you have to be fearless. Why fearless? Because if you're always worried, is there a tiger behind me, is there a lion, then how you can focus the mind? So therefore you have to be fearless. So who can do this? Yeah, I walk in the forest at night, I'm already thinking, oh, what is there? What is there? Imagine you're in a jungle, you know, where there's wild tigers and snakes and all of this. And then you have to be completely freed from sex life. That means there's no such thing as grihastha ashram, marriage, in Hatha Yoga. You cannot. Hatha Yoga means you must be freed from wife or women, you know. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, you're allowed to have wife. You're allowed to be married. The whole point of Bhakti is to make Krishna the center of your activities. That's all. For example, I'm a grihastha. I have my wife and my son, and we have our deities at home, and we perform devotional service by offering cooking nice food stuff, vegetarian food stuff, and offering as to the Lord as boga, and he accepts as prashadam, and we eat. So devotional service is very practical and very joyful, because it's pleasurable. You chant the Lord's name, you eat prashadam, you worship the deity, you start to develop taste for doing these things. And anybody can do it. That is the beauty of it, you see. So after describing all of
Have you
these verse,
have you
yes,
have you been to India? Have you been to India?
not yet, not even.
Yeah,
but
you should.
but
It's
of
definitely.
course I want to go. Of course I want to go. You know, this is where the Lord appears, so I will definitely go
At
one day.
least go, at, at least go to the Lord Krishna birthplace, like
Yeah, Vrindavan.
Ayodhya.
Yeah,
Go to the,
Vrindavan, and
yeah,
Ayodhya, Ramachandra, yes,
Vrindavan.
and
Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Mayapur
Yeah,
also is
yeah,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see. So then,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
let me just show you one more verse here. Then, after describing this Hatha Yoga, here's what Arjuna says. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So you see, so even Arjuna is saying that this Hatha yoga is not practical for him. And Arjuna, who was he? He was the prince of the most powerful family on earth. You know, he was not a normal living entity like us. So if he cannot do it, then what to speak of us? And plus, we are in Kali Yoga, you know, and we have to work so many things. So Hatha Yoga is not practical in this age. Unfortunately, many people cheat their followers. They say, yes, you come and do yoga, you pay me how much money, you know, you sit down there, you do om, and then okay, you go back home. But do the practitioners actually changing? Are their life actually changing? That is the test. You see, before I was drinking alcohol, I was smoking cigarette and ganja, you know, marijuana. I was going to clubs and bars, all this nonsense of that in the Western world is very much prominent. You see, so I was doing I was meat eating, all the nonsense thing you can do, and then simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The mantra is very simple: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So simply by chanting the name of the Lord, I purified myself. I don't know how it happened even. I don't understand, but we can see there's a saying in the Vedic Sastra, Phalena Parichiyate. We judge something by its result. So if I give you a medicine and I tell you, you take this, you won't have cold anymore. You take this, you don't have cold anymore. That means it's working. You know, then you might say, oh, maybe it's a luck, it's chance or what. But if I give to everybody who has cold and everybody gets cured, then at one point you must accept, right? So this chanting of Hare Krishna, everybody who starts to chant it very genuinely and adopts the process, he will become purified, and he will give up these things. That is the test, you know, because actually these four things are the pillar of sinful life: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. You see, nobody, it's a fact that even though one might be accustomed to eating meat, you can understand that it's not good, because killing an animal simply to satisfy one's tongue, where's the goodness in this? The animal are also alive. They also have a right to live, you know. And to kill and cut their throat, like let's say someone takes a knife and cuts your throat, of course it's painful. And like we said earlier, in the eyes of God, there's no difference between us and the animals. So if I tell my father, hey father, you see, here is our younger brother, he's retarded mentally, can I kill him? The father will never agree. So the only difference between us and animals is that they are less intelligent. That's all. They're just less intelligent. But otherwise, they have everything that we have. They can feel pain, they can feel happiness, they can feel sadness, you know, they cry sometimes. So they're like little people, but they're less intelligent. That's why they're compared to children. Children are very similar to animals. They don't make much sense, you know. They simply want to play, and you know, they're like this. So to kill them is just like killing our younger brother and sister. We should offer them protection instead of killing them. See? And then alcohol, intoxication. We can see, you know, there's no need to discuss about that. We can see how drunk people they act. It is completely, you know, I used to be drunk sometime before, and I cannot even understand how I could do these things, you know. And also all these drugs, LSD, cocaine, it simply brings misery upon the person and his family. That's all. And gambling, people sometimes they lose their
Then,
house.
then
Yes, you go.
why God, like Lord Krishna, let people discover these bad things? Like, if God
Yes.
wanted, they
Yeah.
wouldn't let him discover.
Yeah,
Then
so
these
he
things
does
wouldn't
not
happen.
want to. He does not want to, but we are forcing him to. It's just like, a child who has got a very rich father, okay, and the father is ready to give him all protection, all money, everything, but the child wants to go away. And he's forcing, say, no, I want to go away, I want to go away. At one point, out of love, the father will let the child take the experience by himself. That, okay, you think you will be happy outside, then you go and try. That's all. So it's the only thing. So Krishna does not want us to leave him. He doesn't want. But because we insist, out of love of leaving the child having his own free will, he will let us experience. But at the same time, he will never let the child wander without knowing what he's doing, and he will never stop trying to help him. So that's why the Lord is always coming. This Bhagavad Gita, he came 5,000 years ago, and he came in different incarnations throughout different ages. He came as Lord Ramachandra. 500 years ago, he came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why now this Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna is there in the Western world? Why white people are speaking about Hare Krishna? It's because Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, and he said in every town and village they will be chanting Hare Krishna. Now I'm speaking you at the moment. I live in China. I'm from China, and here's a temple of Krishna in China. You see, so the prophecy is coming to be true. Now people all over the world are accepting this Sanatana Dharma, this knowledge coming from the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So he always tries to help us, and he is situated in the heart of every living entity. You see, in the 15th chapter, text 15, he's saying, it's not that he wants us to do these things. He doesn't want us because he knows we'll be suffering, but we are forcing. So he says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So he's saying he's in everyone's heart, and from him comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So if you want to remember him, if you have a desire to understand why I'm here, is there a cause of all this world? Why is there suffering? Then he's hearing, oh, finally my son is trying to understand. Then he will make arrangement that you will come in contact with a bona fide devotee who will be able to instruct you all these things. So he's guiding everyone. But if someone wants to forget him, no, I don't want to know about you, Krishna. I don't want this. I don't want to know that I'm your servant. I just want to enjoy my senses. Then, okay, what can be done? At your own risk, you do it, but you will see that you're not happy. So therefore, he doesn't allow this, And plus, it's not that he created us imperfect. We are eternal. You see, we read in the beginning, there's no beginning of us. We never started. That means that we were there with him in the beginning, and that we decided to come here. Because in the spiritual world, everything is perfect. But there's one thing that you must follow and accept, is that he is God. We are not God. So when we want to defy that eternal truth of him being the supreme Lord, the supreme enjoyer, and we don't want that, we want to be a competitor to Krishna. Let me try to also be Krishna, also be God. This is when we fall into the material world, which is here. And you can see it, everybody's trying to be better than the other. Everybody's envious of everybody. I want to have more money than you. I want to be more pretty than you. It's a constant competition. So we can actually see that everybody's trying to become God, actually. We're trying to become the most beautiful. Like all these competition, Miss Universe, this, that, all these actresses, Bollywood, they're all trying to be the most pretty. Why? Because they're trying to be the Bhagavan. Krishna means six opulence. He's the most wealthy. That means he has the sum totality of all wealth. He claimed this whole universe to be his. He says, that's my energy. All the planets belong to me. So you cannot be richer than him. Then he's the most beautiful. When he came here 5,000 years ago, people who saw him, they couldn't believe how beautiful he was. And he's always looking like a fresh youth. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna had been here on this earth for at least 100 years. But he appeared to be a 16-year-old youth or a 20-year-old youth. So he has all wealth, all beauty, all fame. He's the most famous. Most famous. Everybody knows about God. Everybody here, even Krishna in India, as soon as you say Krishna, everybody knows, His Bhagavad Gita is the oldest book on earth, and everybody knows about it. Everybody knows Bhagavad Gita, so he's the most famous. Then he's has the most knowledge. There's no one book that comes closer to Bhagavad Gita when it comes to knowledge. I've just showed you 3-4 verses, and where else can you find such knowledge like this? And if you study this book thoroughly, you will see that it's so heavy with knowledge. So no personality has given.
I have Bhagavad Gita, but I haven't read completely. Right? But I have.
But do you have
However,
as it is this one? As it is.
as it is,
Okay, so it's very important that you buy this one from Srila Prabhupada. Can you hear me now?
As it is, this one.
Okay, can you hear me?
I'll order it. I'll have it.
Yes. Okay, so
I'm
it's
hearing
easy.
about your interest.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Bhagavad Gita as
As
it
it
is from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. So why this one is important? Because the message of God has to be received through the chain of disciplic succession. Okay, according to the Vedas, there are 4 disciplic succession. One disciplic succession is coming down from Lord Shiva. One is coming down from Lakshmi Devi. One is coming down from Lord Brahma, and one is coming down from the 4 Kumaras. So that means that Krishna originally instructed these 4 heads of the different sampradayas, and they're coming down like this on earth. So you must be connected to one of these sampradayas to receive the proper knowledge, otherwise you will be cheated. Here he says, this supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. You see, so we have to understand through the disciplic succession, and why this Bhagavad Gita is authorized, because Srila Prabhupada is in that disciplic succession. He is in a chain of spiritual master that goes all the way back to Lord Krishna himself. So here is Srila Prabhupada, his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, then we have Gorakishore Das Babaji, we have Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and in this way it goes all the way back to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago, who is Krishna himself. And they are only repeating what Krishna says. They are not interpreting. The difficulty is that there's more than 400 editions of the Gita, but most people have interpreted in their own way. They are changing the words of Krishna. So that is cheating. You cannot change. You must explain as it is. Do you have WhatsApp?
I have WhatsApp. Yeah.
Maybe we can exchange. Let me. This is
Yeah.
my
Sure.
This is
Yeah.
my WhatsApp number. You can also. You also can give
Yeah.
me mine.
Sure. You can. I'll message you. Okay.
Yes.
And you live in where?
China.
US?
China. Guangzhou City, China.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
China. Okay.
Let me just turn on the fan. So where are you from in India?
From New Delhi, from the capital city, New Delhi.
Ah, New Delhi.
Yeah, capital city.
Okay. So yes, there's big ISKCON temple there.
Ah, yeah, I know. I've been to both temples in Noida and Delhi also. I've been to.
Oh, you have. Oh, there's
Because
2, huh?
2 years back, because I was thinking like Krishna was calling me somehow. I was having an internal feeling like Lord is calling me. So I took my friend. I went there. I like, but the temple was closed due to heat and some reconstruction. But I've visited there. So
Yes.
I kind of it looked like an internal dream. Like Lord is calling me. Lord
Yes.
wants me to visit him. So I went there.
That's nice. That's nice, because you see, this is what we showed you just now. The Lord is in the heart, so He knows. He's always hearing us, and His only desire is that we reconnect ourselves with Him. That is yoga. And why we add bhakti in front is because bhakti means devotion. So the translation in English of bhakti yoga means devotional service. So it's a service rendered out of love to the Lord, and the Lord reciprocates, because He's not an imperfect master like we have here, that we serve and then they spit on us, you know. It's not like that. He's perfect, therefore He will reciprocate that love. And this is what we're seeking, actually. So I'm very happy that I met you. Actually, this is arranged by Krishna also. That you have come here. You see, this is the first time I use this. I was thinking because in
Oh,
China, religion, or we cannot discuss this outside. So it's a bit risky to go outside and preach like this. So I thought, okay, let me just come on this and talk to some
actually,
stranger.
I also I also used Omegle first time. This is my first time, and I
Ah,
added
really?
yoga and programming as my interest, and I just searched the people, and I found
Uh,
you.
oh, you see, and me
Yeah,
too. It was my first time, and I added yoga, spirituality, religion, like that. So, and
I
I
added
found you.
yoga and programming. Yeah, yeah,
Ah, nice.
yes.
So you see, so how these things are happening. That means he's there, he's controlling. Although we cannot see him, we cannot hear, but he's there. So that's why also the deity form of the Lord is very important. We should not think that this is idol worship, because the Lord is all powerful. Therefore, he can accept service through his energy also. And stone, wood, all of these are his energy. He says in Bhagavad Gita, he says earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. These are my 8 separate material energies. So the deity form of the Lord is also his energy, and he can accept service through the deity. So we should not consider the deity to be metal or stone. It's actually the Lord himself. And very advanced devotees, when they serve the Lord in full love, the Lord will speak to them also through the deity form. They can hear. This is a very advanced stage of devotional service, but it's a fact. So I highly suggest you to start reading. All your answers will be answered. And you will understand what is Hatha Yoga really, what is Jnana Yoga also. Jnana Yoga is explained also briefly in the Bhagavad Gita. And even more in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You can see there's many books behind me. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam Jnana Yoga, there's one part also. It's called Sankhya Yoga, but Jnana Yoga and Sankhya Yoga are very similar. It's this by Lord Kapila Dev, the son of Devahuti. So he's also an incarnation of Krishna, and he explains very nicely. It's very scientifically described. He explains, all the different parts of the body, because we have 2 types of body. There's the gross body and there's the subtle body. Subtle body means mind, intelligence, and ego. Okay, so there's different parts of the subtle body. So he explains how the subtle body becomes manifest at the time of creation. I mean, it's very, very scientifically described. So if you have a scientific mind or a philosophical mind, everything will be covered. So if you study this Bhagavad Gita, and at the same time if you start chanting, I don't know if you have mala. Do you have mala
I
like
don't
this?
have. I Rudraksh, no? Rudraksh.
Okay, you can use
I don't have.
Rudraksha. You have Rudraksha?
Yeah, my mother have, but I don't live with my mother, so I'll buy
Okay.
at the original Rudraksh.
Yes, please
Yeah,
buy,
I'll buy.
because this is the whole process. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago, he said, Harinam, Harinam, Harinamaiva Kevalam Kalau Naste Vasnaste Vanaste Vagatiranyata. That means in this age of Kali, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way for spiritual realization than chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name of the Lord. So he says 3 times to give the emphasis, because the other processes like Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, they are bona fide, but they're not practical. That is the whole point. So we're not against Hatha Yoga, but after all, we have to be practical. And in today's life, it's not practical. But this is very easy. You see, when I wake up in the morning, I just grab my beads and I start chanting. You see, you just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And then next one, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So it's very simple. You have 10 minutes, you take your bead bag and you chant 1 round, finish. And throughout the day you try to chant as much as you can, and you will feel the effect. It will really be practically perceivable by you. So I can give you a website. It's called Krishna Store. If you want to order, your English is good enough, so you can order
Okay.
from this. I think this is the one. Let me try to. You can order the Gita. You can order the bead bag, the mala. You can browse what they have. They have many different things there.
Okay. And this is out of US, right? Not in India store.
I believe no, all the goods are shipped from India mainly.
Yeah, this is a big. No, I think
Yeah.
this is for US because these are dollar prices.
Yeah, they put in dollar prices, but then if the books though, I believe they are shipped from India. You can see Bhagavad Gita there in the left section. Mm. There's a
Right. Yeah, I see. I see. I
there's
see.
Bhagavad Gita there, so
Yeah.
you see there. So I can also try to find a, but I think that this is a good website that you can order from, uh, and you can order some mala also from there and everything, you know. So if you start to read this Bhagavad Gita and chant Hare Krishna on the beats, then definitely you will feel your life change, and you will feel your consciousness change, and you will start to understand everything. Me personally, for example, academically speaking, I was a bad student at school. I did not like to go to school. I have no qualification. I'm nobody, you know. I did not even go to university. But then, by studying this, somehow or other, knowledge just came. I started to understand everything, to understand why people suffer. I started to see the world very differently from a much higher perspective. And all of this is simply by the chanting. Only by chanting Hare Krishna and by reading Prabhupada's books, I managed to understand these things. You see. So you have added me on WhatsApp already? Have you sent a message?
Yeah, I'll add. I just saved your number. What's your name?
My name is Nimai Nitai Das. So Nimai, I
Nimai
will type.
Nitai.
I will type it here. You can see Nimai.
Nimai Nitai is an Indian name, Indian Bengali name. Like,
Yes. Nimai Nitai are the two names of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who appeared 500 years ago. It was their youth name.
so, yeah.
Otherwise, I will also share my email with you just in case if you don't manage to add me.
Yeah, just I can see you on. Yeah, I see. I see a lot of Indians in your DP profile picture, sitting up beside of you. A lot of Indians.
Oh, in my profile picture? Is it? Can you show me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So this was in when I took initiation in Singapore. Yeah, it was in Singapore temple. Yeah. So
I
do
think this
you
was
have it?
nice talking to you, and
Yes.
I
Do you
have
have any
nothing
further
else.
questions
Yeah,
or?
we can. I have question, but not right now. I'll think about it and I'll ask you on
Yes,
the
please.
WhatsApp. Right.
On WhatsApp, yeah, we keep in
Yeah.
touch. And anything you think of, I
Yeah.
will always. And now, because we're speaking like this, I cannot quote many verses, but I will be quoting always from Sastra. Whatever you will be asking me, I will showing you verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Like this, you can be sure that what I'm saying is correct. You know, that is Prabhupada, our spiritual master. He wanted us to speak like this. Like this is very authoritative. You know, we know for sure that we're not being cheated. So if you have any question on any subject matter, like the creation, why there's different species of life, anything you can think of, you ask me, and I will be more than happy to help you and reply in whichever way I can. What is your name, Prabhu?
Definitely. My name is Suman. Suman Kumar. Big
Suman.
time.
Yes.
Like big time.
Suman
Suman.
Kumar.
Suman.
Okay, so very
Yeah.
happy to meet you, Suman Kumar, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So
Same
so
here.
let's keep in touch, okay? And please go on that
Yeah.
website now and order Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Huh? So let's keep in touch. Okay. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
definitely. I'll save your number. Hare Krishna.
Mm. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.